Greetings, this is Marcus from Sporting Cubed, and today I'll be reconstructing Sean Patrick Villanueva's 5.45 real world record average. So let's get right into it. So this is what the first scramble looked like. Sean first saw that these two pieces were paired up, and the edge that goes with this corner is right here. The rest of the first block is right here, and then the DR edge is right here. So he would see that these two would not get much affected when you pair this up over here. And then this would also just stay in place. So what he first did was that he did a D move like that, and then F to pair this up, and then D2. And these two were not affected that much. They were just moved in to a very convenient position right here, and this would just be moved down when you pair these two like that. And then Sean did this pair, and he also saw this these two pieces for the next pair. So what he first did was that he took this edge out to set up a 3-mover and put it in like that, and then these two would just be paired up like that and inserted. Then Sean would just do a U to recognize this case and do this algorithm. Next, Sean saw that these two pieces were right here for the ULUR edges and decided to do EOLR. So he did it like this, and then now the arrow is formed, and he inserted this downwards when he solved EO. And now he would just insert the ULUR edges like that and finish up this simple columns case like that. So overall, this solve was very solid, and the only mistake that I saw was that Sean did a U to recognize the CMLL and had to fix it with the U prime right after. So this is what the second scramble looked like. So he first saw that these two would be paired up together here. So he knew that the red-white first block would be the best. So this corner would be corresponding to this edge. So when he did an R2, it would just get moved in right here to solve the first square. These two pieces would be set up for the rest of the first block. And then this would be the DR edge. So we would track that while doing this. So when he solved the first square, this piece was over here. So we did a U, and with this, he would just do an R to move this over here, and this would be moved in a better position. So when this is paired up, this would be moved up, and then he just inserted with a U, and then these two pieces would be the start of the second block. So he would just move it out like this, and then he would pair it up like this. This would be the rest of the second block here. So he would track that while inserting this pair in. So these two would be very easily solved like that. So for the CML, he just did it like this. And then with the LSC, he just did EO and then ULUR edges instead of EOLR. So he just did it like this, and then solved the arrow like this. However, he made a small mistake here. Instead, he should have moved this down like this in order to solve the ULUR edges. Instead, he did an M prime, but then had to do an M2 right after to fix this mistake. So the ULUR edges, he would solve it like this, and then he got this case for 4C. So overall, that solve came in at 50 moves and 8.61 TPS. Overall, it was not a terrible solve, but he did have a mistake during LSC, and this was the worst solve of the average. So this is the third scramble. Sean did the blue-white block, and he saw that these two pieces are one pair and these two pieces are another. So instead of just pairing these two pieces up first, he moved this DR edge down here. So he just moved it to pair these two up and then moved it down. And then these two pieces would be easily paired up with a U2. This way, this DR edge would be solved when the first block is solved. So he did a B2, and then he just moved all of this down with an R right prime. And then these two would be paired up like this. Then Sean saw that these two pieces would just be right here for the second block, and the rest of the pieces were down here. So Sean solved these two pieces not like this, but he actually did it with a U first, and then did it like this. And then these two pieces would be down here, and then he would just solve it like this. Then he would recognize a CMLL like this, and then do this case. The arrow is already solved here, so he would just solve EO like this, and then put this UL-UR edge down in the back here, since this edge is already here. So he would just move it down here and just solve it like that. And this way, it would just be very easy to solve it like this, except after he did a U prime, he accidentally did a U2 and then moved it back, and then just did an M2 with a U prime AUF. So overall, this solve was fairly fast at 5.74 seconds, and it had 50 moves at 8.71 TPS. There weren't many mistakes, but the big thing in there was that he sort of messed up at the end of LSC. This is what the fourth scramble looked like. So Sean saw that these two pieces are a pseudo pair. So this means that this edge is solved and this edge would, this corner would just be over here. So what he did was that he did the green-white block. So the green-white edge is right here, and the rest of the pieces for this block would be here and here. And then he also saw that this blue-white edge, which is a DR edge, is right here. So in order to reorient this and put it over here, he did an R prime actually, and did a U prime, and then just moved it down here. So this edge would be easily inserted over here with an F2, and this corner would be inserted with this line over here for line block building, and it would just solve that line over here, and you can connect them like that to solve this block. Then the DR edge is right here. So Sean solved it like this, and then he did it like that, and then he moved it down here. So this would essentially have this pair be together and have this pair also together. So to solve this pair, he did it like this, and then these two pieces would be here. He would pair them up like that and insert. Then he got this CMLL, so it would just be opposites here. So he did it like this, and then for LC he would just have this arrow here and do it like this, and he saw that the UL-UR edges are right here, so he would just move it down here. However, he did do a mistake here and did a U prime instead of a U, which it needed to be opposite colors. So after he did this, he would do a U2 and then pair them up like this, and then he would just get a cycles case that goes like this. So overall, this was a very solid solve at 5.51 seconds. However, there were a couple things I must mention about the solve. Was that there was a mistake there in LSC, and the second block was fairly long in moves at 22 compared to some of his other second blocks in this average. It came in at 52 moves and 9.44 TPS. this is what the last scramble looked like. So Sean opted to do the red-white block. So you saw that these two pieces are here and these two pieces are here. So those would be our two pairs for this block. And then the DR edge is right here. So Sean, in order to solve this first pair, he would do a U2 and move this down like this. So these three pieces would all be down here. So when these two get paired up like that, and with an F2 to create this first square, these two would be over here. So it would be easily solved like this. So with an R2, and then this would get moved back here. And then when this is inserted, this DR edge is also inserted into the back here. So when he did an R, he solved this DR edge. Then he solved this pair right here. And then he also saw that the next pair would be right here for the second block. And then he inserted it in like this. And then he solved this pair with an M2 and then inserted in like this. And instead of doing a U to solve the CML, he actually did 3 U primes and then did the CML. Then he did a U prime to set this arrow up because the bad edge is in the back. And then he would do it like this, making sure that the UL-UR edges are down in the bottom while he does it. And then he would solve the UL-UR edges like this and then cancel right into 4C like this. And that's a solve. So overall, this solve was fairly solid despite having 3 U primes to set up his CML. It came in at only 42 moves, which is the most efficient solve in the average, and at 8.25 turns per second. So overall, those were some very solid solves in this average. There were a couple mistakes here and there, but that just gives room for improvement in the future. And I'm excited to see what Sean does next. So that is it for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy content like this, please like and subscribe to Sporting Cubed and click the bell icon to be notified whenever we upload. See ya.